Segment 2, Gold and Black Live. Kyle Charters and Dave Shondell. Dave needs no introduction, Purdue's volleyball coach, and we always say he's one of our favorites because he is. We enjoy having him coming out. We get him in season and sometimes off season. And Coach, never a dull moment. We were talking yesterday, but your travel schedule, you're working on your golf game the next few weeks. Is that right? No, that's not. You're out and about. I just was interested in, you're going to Atlanta this weekend for recruiting, but tell us what all's going on with that.
Well, with the recruiting season for volleyball started about a month ago, and we have a lot of work to do. We've got some really good kids committed, but as those that follow volleyball know, we lost a good senior class led by Annie Drews and Amanda Neal and Sam Epinesa, and a couple of others that contributed nicely. And then we had what was really rare for us, a couple of players transfer. Yeah. And one was Alexis Smith, who would have been a regular for us. And my take is that she, wanted to be closer to home. And she's from Colorado and ended up transferring to Colorado, where her boyfriend is also in school there. So, good for her. I think it will be a good positive thing for her. Not as good for us. So yeah. we have to, turn the intensity up a little bit. And it did hit us hard, but we've recovered. And when you look in our gym, believe it or not, there's still some pretty good players in the gym, despite losing some quality. I mean, Annie Drews is one of the best we've ever had. Should have been a first-team All-America player, but didn't quite get there because we probably didn't advance as far enough as we needed to in the NCAA tournament. And but we've got great players, and I'm excited about them. We have to make some changes and move some people around a little bit, which is, I guess that's why they have a coach.
Yeah.
To have to make some of those decisions and try to train some people to become better at what they need to do.
You brought in a transfer, too, who I saw walking down the hall the other day, and she looks like she might be able to contribute.
We think that she will. Sheridan Atkinson came from Long Beach State. She's actually from Long Beach, and will have 3 years of eligibility remaining. She redshirted her first year there and then was hurt almost the entire season last year. Yeah. And then finally came to the conclusion she really didn't want to stay in Long Beach a lot longer, and kind of wanted to play at the Big Ten or Pac-12 level. And we got on her really fast, and actually got her in for the last home match of the season. And she loved Purdue, she loved our players, and we got a commitment. She doesn't want to be listed any taller than 6'5". But she's at least 6'6".
Yeah.
And Danielle Catino's 6'4".
Yeah.
We've got some other kids that are in the 6'2", 6'2.5" range, and they look small when she stands around them. So she's got a lot of work to do. She's got a long way to go, but she was a Fab 50 recruit, just has kind of diminished physically because she hasn't played a lot with an injury and then being out for a while. But she's making great progress, and we're optimistic that in time she's going to be a really good Big Ten player.
She hasn't gotten any shorter.
No, you can't teach people to be, 6'6", as I like to call her. She just cringes when I say 6'6" for some reason, but she's got good size.
Your recruiting philosophy is an interesting one, and yet, there's so much what I call AAU volleyball, but there's so much to go and watch. But you also do believe that if you can find athletes out there, if you add, that you believe in your staff and your program, that you can coach them up. I mean, how does that work? Because you have commitments for 16, 17, 18. You're well into those classes.
Right.
You're still looking for that diamond in the rough, or how does that come to pass?
Well, we'd like to get them that are already made players,
Yeah.
but they have a tendency to go to Texas and Stanford and some places besides Purdue. So we have to, and we get some of those.
Yeah,
I mean, we've had some great players. Nobody's feeling sorry for us, but sometimes you can get the same athlete that those schools aren't looking at because they want somebody that's already got the arm swing and that can handle the ball and has played at the high level and is, as they would call it in football, the 5-star recruit. Yeah. And I went to Ryan Kerrigan, that nobody really knew much about, and that still is a horse, and it's just a matter of time. Volleyball is not a real complex game, really, the way we do it. And so, and Manny Drews was a pretty good example.
Yeah.
I mean, when we got a commitment from Manny Drews, there were people on her, but they weren't offering her. And we knew that she had the ability because I watched her enough to know how athletic she was and how, for a player 6'4", how fast she could move. And she finished with some liabilities. Her blocking was never really very good, but she could hit the ball. I mean, nobody's hit the ball any better than she has in the 13 years I've been at Purdue, and now she's tearing it up in Puerto Rico at the pro level.
with what you've done in the 13 years with the Elite Eights, the Sweet 16s, it gets you in the door, right? With recruits, I mean, you're
Well,
not being
you know,
shut
I was
out.
just talking to my dad on the phone, and he was asking how I was doing, because the last time I saw him was just when some of this, I'll call it crap, went down over the
Or on the internet, you can say
holiday.
whatever.
And it does impact the head coach when players leave, regardless of why they leave. You think everybody should love everything about
Yeah.
what's going on here, and then when they don't, you think, what are we doing wrong? And in theory, it's a great opportunity to evaluate what you're doing, but we weren't doing anything wrong. It was just the right thing for those people to do. But what I found out in the month of recruiting that I have done is that, you know, people really have a lot of respect for Purdue volleyball across the country.
Yeah.
And everyone that I've gone to see, the top players that I've seen in Texas and in Chicago and in Florida and California, all those different places that we've been. Last week we had people in Salt Lake City. When they've had the opportunity to get back with us, they're calling us. They're very interested in what's happening at Purdue and the opportunity to investigate further in our program. So, you know, we took a hit, but we're moving forward, and I think that we're going to be okay.
Workouts now, you're practicing X number of times a week, and what's the schedule for the upcoming?
Well,
and will you play? You play any?
Eventually, yeah. I mean, it's one of the things that right now the NCAA is looking at, because some of the students, athletes, are concerned about the amount of time that they're putting in, and that's a head scratcher to me a little bit. But there's always people out there that have concerns about things. But right now, we only have our players for 2 hours a week in the gym.
Right.
So if our setter can be in there, you know, 4 days for half an hour. That's how much we get them from the time they come back from Christmas until 2 weeks from now. Then we'll have them for a longer amount of time. But for right now, it's just a really short time, and you try to get as much done as you can. And they're also in the weight room for, you know, a little bit longer than that during the week. But they need that time to recover a little bit, both emotionally and physically. And then again, when we get back in a couple of weeks, we'll get back on the 20-hour-a-week ride. And then we do have 4 Saturdays that we play. We go to IU for a Saturday. We go to Louisville for a big tournament down there. We'll play a lot of volleyball. We go to Indianapolis at a place called the Academy, and we'll play probably 4 or 5 matches there. And then we have a tournament at Purdue. That would be the 4th Saturday in April.
I'll call this the off-season. That doesn't sound
Yeah,
like
no, that's not
off-season.
the off-season.
Well, there's no off-season when there's recruiting involved. I'd like to go to the NCAA and say, can we cut down the amount of time that we have to recruit? That would be what I would, you know, if we're going to, you know, entertain options, let's entertain not having us out recruiting all year long, because that's, as your football guy just mentioned, you know, you've got way too much to do coaching at this level. And it didn't used to be that way. It really didn't. It's just blown up partially because of the money and social media and everything, and now it's all about outworking everybody else, which I'm all in favor of, but I'd like to have some limits on how many hours a day and how many days a week and how many, you know, weeks out of the year that you have to go out and do that and sacrifice the other things in your life.
Yeah, no question. One of the things of being a 13-year veteran and working for the same boss for 13 years in Morgan Burke here in West Lafayette, you know, Morgan's the transition's begun for his athletic directorship, but I think you have a very interesting perspective and understand administration well, and an interesting perspective on what Morgan has brought to coaches and to student athletes at Purdue.
Sure. Well, he came in and he talked to, I think, Matt and Sharon and Daryl and I before he made the announcement. Yes. And I looked at him and I said, I'm not sure why you've been doing it this long. After watching what he has to deal with, the way that job has changed since I got here. I mean, it's dramatic changes in the 13 years that I've been here, and it just didn't look like it was a lot of fun to me. And so I'm glad I'm actually happy for him that he's going to move on. He's got grandchildren. He's got a lot of kids. He's got a lot of things that he can do, and you don't sometimes think that way until you realize it's that time. And so happy for him. But, you know, people, if you look at the social media, you know, you think the guy's the worst athletic director in America. Yeah. But then you talk to the people that really know, the coaches and the athletic directors and the student athletes, and you see a totally different portrayal of what he has done. And of course, I'd be the first to say that, you know, there wasn't another athletic director in the country that was hiring a high school coach out of Muncie to come coach in the Big Ten. But he did, and fortunately it's worked out relatively well. Mm-hmm. And he's done some other unique hires, and they don't all work. Yeah. You know, we'll get back to the football situation, and I think Daryl's a first-class guy, And our coach who was just in here
Yeah,
mentioned
Ross.
that all about culture, and if he has created a great culture. I mean, we have first class. Those guys know how to behave, and they're doing the right things. But they got to go out and beat people on the football field. But not every hire works out exactly the way you want it in a timely fashion that you want it to work. And today with you guys and the social media and everything, and
Thank
that
you.
if it isn't automatic,
Yeah.
if it isn't instant, then all of a sudden everybody's up in arms. And here's Daryl's had 3 years and it hasn't gone well. He'd be the first to tell you that. It's not
Yeah.
the way he drew it up.
Yeah.
But if every 3 years we're going to hire a new football coach, and then where are we going to be? And we talked last night that it's a tough job, and it's tough to turn around a program. And if you're in the Big Ten, your name's not Ohio State, your name's not Michigan, and your name's not Wisconsin or Nebraska, and it's even tougher. Our people understand that, I think, but sometimes they forget. But obviously we have some work to do there. But Morgan has done, I think, a terrific job of hiring coaches. Our athletic department right now, since I've been here, has the best coaches we've ever had.
What about that personal? Because one thing he's done is that personal relationship with the kids. He's there. He knows them all. That's kind of been his calling card with respect to the teams itself. I mean, how is that? What has that meant to you as a coach? I mean, in terms of him always being there and being a part of your program, almost to the point of being, he knows what these kids are about.
Well, that's what he said he was going to do.
Yeah.
When he took the job, was he's one of those administrators that believes it is about the kids. It's not about the donors. It's not about the fans. It's not about, whatever else. I mean, this is about the student athletes, and he's always been adamant that we're student athletes. And the first thing he told me when I got the job was, this is about academics. That's why my office is right here in the middle of all the coaches' offices, because I want those students to see that this is about academics. And I think that message is loud and clear at Purdue, and it still is today. That's a big part of it. But I think more than coaches appreciate his personal approach is the athletes do. I mean, how many places do you go where the athletic director knows all the soccer players, or knows all the cross-country runners, or anybody? I mean, I can't recognize football players. Got helmets on all the time, so
Yeah.
I see them and I know they play football, but I don't know who they are. And he will know every single player. It's his personal objective every year to make sure he knows the face and the name of every student athlete we have on campus. And that's a tall order, but that's something he takes a lot of pride in. And the other thing is, he lets us do our job. I've worked for people in the past, whether it be in education or whatever it might be, that they wanted in your business all the time and thought they needed to be telling you, how to do your job. And he has never has he ever come down and said, hey, you ever think about doing this, or maybe you ought to schedule this way, or not one time. So it gives you enough rope to hang yourself, I guess. But on the other hand, I think he feels like he's hired you, and you go do your job.
That's one way. What other subtle ways maybe that we don't see as he helps support, maybe especially, some of the Olympic sports, you guys, women's basketball, baseball?
Well, facilities.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, first of all, and some people don't like the fact that, that he wasn't a football, baseball, basketball guy. He was a swimmer. And I think at Purdue, all of our sports are given an opportunity to be successful. And partially because we have 18, we don't have 30, we have 18. That helps everybody get what a good piece of the pie. But he makes it really clear, this isn't about football and basketball. This is about a complete package. And, somebody asked me the other day, what is our calling card? What is Purdue's signature? And I believe it's all sports. Of course, I'm a volleyball guy, so
Yeah.
I better say
Yeah.
that, I sure don't want it to be a football school. I don't want it to be a basketball school. I want it to be, where everybody has an opportunity to be successful. Women's basketball or golf, they've proven that, that there's that opportunity here. And we've tried really hard to get to the Final Four, and we think that we still will in a matter of time. But I think that's one thing. I think that what people don't know is how competitive this guy is. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know that until I got up in the Big Ten tournament, up in the suite. I snuck myself into the suite so I could be a big shot and get a free drink up there. And man, he's one of the most competitive guys ever.
Yeah.
And you don't see that on TV, when he's talking, that kind of thing. But he loves Purdue. He's wanted to do the very, very best. And when people criticize him, he just like the three of us here, we're all going to make plenty of mistakes. And he would tell you the same thing. He's made mistakes because you can't get it right all the time, but nobody's trying to do more for the university than what he has done in the 26 years he's been here.
I've made about 17 mistakes today, as a matter of fact. If you're counting, I don't have a Geiger counter with me.
18, I was actually counting.
Yeah, okay, good, at least. But you're going to be in transition, and you're going to have a new person in there. And what is that? And you're a visionary of looking out to. You don't want to. You're not at the end of your road. You may be in the third quarter of your career, but you want to do this for a while. What's important now? I mean, it is a tough job, and what's the vision? What does the new AD at Purdue need to be in your view?
Well, again, I think when you look at the total package, we're not in bad shape. Financially, the Big Ten Network has helped keep us afloat. Our donors have continued to love and show support for Purdue. I think that whatever AD comes in, they're coming into what could be considered, if you're a coach looking at this situation, you got to think, this is a gold mine. I mean, if football can turn the corner, there's opportunities to do about whatever you want to do at Purdue University. You're in the Big Ten, the best conference in America. You got a great academic school. I'd like to see certainly somebody come in with great enthusiasm, and somebody that wants to, spread the word and continue to build things up. That really has a mentality that we can do anything we want to do at Purdue. And because I think the mentality from the time I got here till now is there's still a nucleus of folks out there that think, well, we are Purdue, and we're not some of the others. And yet, I think Matt Painter has proven this year that he's done a great job recruiting. He's got a great product. Whether or not he advances deep into the tournament can be determined by a lot of things. But there's a lot of programs in America that would like to have Matt Painter's basketball team right now because they're really good, and that can be said for a lot of things. And you look at what our track program has done.
Yeah,
Lonnie has just turned that thing around on the wheel, which was great because things that are important to me are like the competition between us and Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in this state, and so I know what the rivalry is at. So we've got this, the Governor's Cup. Is that what it's still called now? Because it's changed names, and it's between us and Indiana who wins the most competition. And we were getting beat on that a lot because our cross-country team would lose, men's and women's. Our indoor track would lose, men's and women's, and our outdoor track would lose. So we're down 6-0 before we even get into an opportunity to. That means so do the math on that, which I don't have time to do. But you got to go 3 and 9 the rest of the way, or 9 and 3 to tie.
Right.
And so now you got a guy that comes in, and all of a sudden we're winning all 6 of those. So that allows us what we should be able to do is to win that Governor's Cup and yearly have the advantage over Indiana. So there's nothing I don't think that we can do here. I think that we need to get more people on board with that mentality. And when I read the bloggers and the people that get on social media and they kind of get under your skin a little bit, but those people still want Purdue to do well.
Yeah.
It's not that they're just ripping you just because they've had bad days or bad lives. It's just that they really want Purdue to do well, and we'll take all fans. We don't care, if they want to get a little upset now and then, that's okay. We can try to ignore them when that happens. But we want people that believe that Purdue can be anything that it wants to be, and we need an athletic director that comes in, I think, with that same mentality. Yeah.
Passion good, apathy bad.
Well, yeah, for sure. But I don't think that we're gonna hire anybody that would come in like that. Yeah, for
Fan
sure.
base, yeah.
Oh, fan base, yeah.
You want your fan base to be passionate,
Yeah,
no matter what.
no matter what. Yeah, and we've got great fans at Purdue and great people at Purdue. But this will be a really important hire. There's no doubt about that, because I think that you're at a time, we talked last night. Okay, what age bracket do you bring in a new athletic director? For a lot of different reasons, I think that's important. But there are a lot of things that are going on right now that the older athletic directors still haven't grasped that concept of what's going on out there technology-wise and social media and things. Now, I thought Morgan did a great job, and Morgan brought the business aspect of administration to Purdue. He was the first guy that really got the donors into it heavily and used that to raise money and so forth, and that's going to have to continue. But things are not what they were when Red Mackey was here.
No,
I know
that is a true statement.
Yeah.
These conversations could go on for another couple hours. We're going to bring Brian Newbert on, and he'll have another set of opinions as well, I'm sure. But we'll talk with Purdue basketball. But, Coach, thanks so much for your time.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it.
We always enjoy it, and we'll look forward to staying in touch down the road. Good luck this spring as you get on the recruiting trail, but also develop your team for what will promise to be an exciting 2016 season for Purdue volleyball as well. All right, we'll take a 2-minute break, come back for our last segment of Golden Black Live, and bring Brian Newbert on, talk hoops and more, and we'll look forward to doing that in a couple of minutes. Stay tuned.